Yo, what's up guys, it's XRAYZ and welcome to a new episode of Gaming Nightmares. Now today we're going to be covering one that's a pretty interesting one where it's someone who finds out that his computer, or maybe it's a virus or an infection or some kind of glitch in a game, starts affecting his real life and the life of his friend. Now before I actually jump into that though guys, if you guys want to check out the last episode, we covered the Metroid 2 Secret Worlds, which is a glitch that you can do in Metroid 2 that allows you to kind of explore different areas of this game, and it kind of covers the conversation between two different people as one person discovers that there's more to the game than meets the eye. If you guys want to check that one out, it's going to be linked down in the description below, or you can check out the full playlist annotation on the screen. Now with that said, let's jump straight into the story. As always, if you do support this series and you want to see more of this, then make sure to slap a like and a favorite on the video. Gets it out there, helps my content, and it helps my channel grow. And of course, if you guys are new and you enjoy gaming nightmares and creepy pastas, urban legends and myths, then make sure to subscribe so you guys don't miss any in the future. But anyways, with that said, let's talk about this story. Now the story covers our main protagonist, who we're going to call Pete. Now Pete has a best friend whose name is Joel, and they're both kind of big gaming and just like techie computer nerds. They really like working with computers, and they really like playing games like Diablo 3, World of Warcraft, and just, you know, very much MMORPGs. IQUARIS is the computer that he uses, and normally he runs it perfectly. Every game runs perfectly on there. You know, it's a top of the line super PC that he built himself. And so the story starts off with Peter and Joel kind of working together. Now, Peter and Joel are, you know, found this new game that they're playing, and, you know, it's nothing strange. The game isn't weird at all. It's you know, the typical MMORPG that everyone would play, but they're playing this one a lot. You know, it's been days since they last took a shower, days since they last turned off their computer. They've been playing this game over and over, trying to grind to get to a tournament that the game is going to have that actually offers real cash as a prize. So they're playing, and, you know, as they're in the middle of this game that's going to qualify them for this, you know, tournament that they're going to be able to win money, Peter gets this weird glitch on his computer. It's like a dead pixel. It's just like a weird dead pixel. It's black, and it starts off simple. It's just like this weird dead pixel on the screen, and it starts to slowly expand. And then, you know, it's not much. It's not there covering up the entire screen, but it's enough to kind of bother him enough so that they actually end up losing the game. So they lose the game, and Joel starts screaming. He's frustrated. You know, he's mad that they lost this. They lost their opportunity to get into this tournament. He actually ends up, you know, checking out his computer, and he finds out that the reason it's been, you know, pixeling it up and, you know, getting dead pixels on the screen is because he hasn't turned off his computer in about 2 to 3 weeks. He's been playing for so long that his computer is kind of starting to overheat and fry up the PC monitor. So he's like, okay, you know, it's normal. I'll leave it off for a little bit. And he just kind of leaves it off the computer, hoping that it's going to get better. And, you know, the next day he turns it back on, hoping that the pixels kind of went away, and the pixels are still there, and it actually looks like it's a little bit bigger, like it actually expanded a little bit. So, you know, he's determined. He's like, you know what, we lost the last game. We need to win this next one if we want to get into this tournament. And he's telling Joel, like, you know, we can do this. Both of us can do this. Joel at this point is pissed off because they've been playing for so long and it kind of costed them before. And he's like, we're not going to win anymore. So they end up playing again. And, you know, middle of the game, this dead pixel starts pulsating. It starts flashing different lights. It's like a weird, just like a weird red glow coming out of it, just, you know, in a weird kind of Illuminati type shape that it would, you know, kind of glow and mix and spread a little bit. And, you know, he's trying to play through this. He's like, yeah, it's just computer overheating. I'm going to keep going, you know, to hopefully win this game. And then they actually end up losing because Joel actually experiences the very same thing on his computer. The screen, you know, starts getting pixelated, dead pixel starts glowing red, and they end up losing the game again. And this time Joel gets frustrated, and he, you know, throws something. You can hear glass breaking on the other side, you know, through his computer. And, you know, he's like, Joel, everything okay? Everything all right? And he's like, you know, I just got this, you know, effing, you know, glitch on my computer. The screen's messed up. And he's like, you know, the same thing happened to mine. It's probably just overheated. We just need to turn it off. And you know, he's upset. He's very upset because this definitely costed them the tournament. They're not going to be able to play for money anymore. And so, you know, they both decide that they're going to, you know, turn off the computers for a little bit, let the computers kind of cool down, relax. Hopefully the pixelation, it kind of goes away. And so Joel actually ends up going to Peter's house. And when he goes over to his house, he's like, hey, how about we turn it on, let's check it out, see if everything's all right. And, he notices that Joel looks like he's like really, really pale. He stinks. He's like really just looking like he's like almost zombified, just really pale and really weak. And, when he tells him that he hasn't turned on his computer in 3 days, he's like, his face brightens up a little bit. He looks a little more happy, and he's like, well, if it'll make him feel better, if it's something that, makes him happy, then, maybe I'll turn it on just to see how it works. Since it's been overheating, leaving it off, hopefully the pixelation went away. Hopefully they can play in this tournament again. So Peter turns it on. And when he turns it on, it's, before it was just like a little bit of pixelation. But now it's kind of spread so that the entire bottom half of the screen is pixelated. And so as soon as his friend Joel sees this, he freaks out, he starts screaming, he starts hyperventilating as if he's seen this before. And he starts talking to himself, and he starts shivering, trembling, moving around, and he just runs outside. Peter runs to the window to see what Joel's doing, and he's just at the bus stop, apparently going back home, talking to himself, acting really weird, just freaked out. He completely forgot that his computer was still on. And he realizes that it's still on because it starts doing this weird, high-pitched, eerie sound, like something's grinding, something's clanking in the computer, which is, completely abnormal, and it's still that weird shape, like cryptic pixeling on his screen, blurring, and, bright red, just glowing, is, very bright, to the point where he has to kind of cover up the computer and, try to put a blanket or something on it to, put down the volume of the computer and, just the lights and everything, because it's so bright, it's so loud, and it's starting to kind of affect him. And, he's like, well, I'll just turn it off. He tries to turn it off. It doesn't turn off. He tries pulling out the power cord. That doesn't work. And so his dad walks in there, and he's like, no, it's my computer. It's acting up. It's weird. It's glowing. It's just making a weird noise. And he's like, well, just cover it up. It might, kind of shut down by itself later on. So he covers it up, tries to go to sleep. And, the next day he wakes up, and it's just this weird red glow that's just non-stop, and he's still worried about this. He's like, well, what's going on with this? And, he gets a call from his dad. He wakes up and he gets a call from his dad, and his dad's like, his dad's an EMT. He works as as an emergency medical technician. So whenever there's an emergency, he has to get on his, ambulance, go over there, check out the scene. And so his dad calls him, and he's like, hey, he's like, everything all right? You awake? And he's like, yeah, he's awake. He's like, but, he notices that he has like a sad tone in his voice, and he's like, well, what's wrong? Why are you calling me? And he's like, I went over to your friend's house, Joel. I was on my way to his house, didn't realize it was his house until I got there, and apparently his friend had committed suicide. And so he doesn't really explain how it happened. All he says is, he did suicide, he committed suicide, and he's apologizing to him, and obviously Peter is just completely shaken. It's his best friend. He doesn't have a lot of friends, and Joel was like his best friend, someone he could talk to. They had everything in common. So he's shattered, he's sad, he's crying, and he's yelling at him. It's just not real. He didn't commit suicide. Why would he do that? Why wouldn't he tell me if there was something going on? And so his dad's like, later on the sheriff's gonna come by, and he's gonna ask you some questions. And he's like, well, what's going on? If it was just a regular suicide, why would the sheriff come over to the house and ask me questions? And he's like, just don't worry about it. Answer any questions that you have, anything that and it'll be all right. So the sheriff comes over to his house, and he's asking him questions like, so is Joel your best friend? Obviously that stuff. And Peter at this point is just very upset. He's mad. He wants to know what's going on. He's like, let's stop pussyfooting around. Get to what you need to tell me. Stop beating around the bush. What do you want? And the sheriff's like, well, puts down some pictures on the table, and he's like, your friend committed suicide, but he did it in a really weird way. Apparently, in the pictures that he was like showing him, Joel had apparently stabbed himself in the eyes, stabbed himself in the ears, and then proceeded to stab himself in the throat. Maybe it was because of the bright red light. He didn't want to see it anymore. Maybe it did something to his eyes. Maybe it made him go crazy. Maybe the reason he stabbed his ears was because of the sound that the computer was making, the grinding, clanking noise. And he looks at him, and he's like, Do you notice anything? Did he tell you anything? And Peter's just there sitting, still in shock, looking at these pictures. He notices that one of the blood splatters, that's from the crime scene, looks exactly like the pixelated spot on his computer. Exactly what it looked like before he went to sleep, before he covered it all up. And he's scared at this point. He's like, was there a sound? And the sheriff's like, what do you mean was there a sound? Is there something, He's like, no. He's like, no. Joel just told me that he heard a sound from his computer when it was pixelated, probably a virus. He was afraid to tell them that, the same thing had happened to him. And he looked at his dad. His dad looked at him. He knew what was going on. And, the sheriff leaves. He tells him, what he knows, covers up a few things because he's scared. And his dad tells him, you got to throw this away. You got to throw away this computer. And he does. So he grabs the computer. He's mad. He's angry. He's scared at the same time. And he just tosses it into the trash can. It starts catching fire, making, again, that weird clanking, grinding noise. And he tries to forget about everything. And he finally finishes up this message by sending this message to his friend. And his friend actually posts it on a forum because he's afraid that whatever it was that killed his friend might come after him. But anyways, guys, thanks again so much for watching this episode of Gaming Nightmares. Hopefully you guys did enjoy it. If you did, make sure to support the series by leaving a like and a favorite. It gets it out there, helps my channel grow, and it lets me know that you guys are enjoying this content. And of course, if you guys are new and you enjoy gaming, creepypastas, urban legends, myths, then make sure to subscribe so you guys don't miss any episodes in the future. But anyways, guys, until next time, like, comment, subscribe, and make sure to out, and keep having nightmares.